Hello? Is anybody out there? Can you hear me? Welcome to the 100 TV. Real conversations with real people. All of this has been an evolution. Nothing about this journey is how I thought it was going to be. You know, shout out to the Free Game Society, man. Shout out to everybody, Team 100. Shout out to everybody that just keeps rocking, that understands what's going on here. We're just trying to make changes without compromising the truth, right? We're not up here just for the views. We're here for the impact. But you know, you be the judge, man. Lock in with us. We can agree to disagree, you know. But regardless, we're gonna keep it 100. You can't keep it 100 with anybody unless you keep it 100 with yourself, man. Let's be clear. You gotta come correct, man. They'll pick you apart nowadays, man. People doing homework, you know what I'm talking about? So when we talk, we talking from a perspective of experience. We talking through the life journey, our ups and downs. You know, we giving it to you that way, right? But who are we though, man? We just like y'all. You ready? Alright, well, come on in. We going in. The 100 TV. Y'all better tap in, man. Like, follow, subscribe, hit the notification buzzer, all that stuff, man. So when we live, y'all live, man. Become a part of the conversation, man. It's not my platform, it's our platform. 100. You just let that ride, man.
Peace, 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 peace to the planet Earth. This is the 100 TV. As always, man, it's a privilege and an honor to be up here with y'all. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with us in this moment, man. We do value and appreciate your time because we know a little bit about it. That's how I'm gonna start off that. Going straight in, man. You know what we do up here, guys. It's real conversation with real people. I enjoy the journey of social media. I have met quite a few dope people, quite a few amazing people, sincere people, and this guy definitely falls in line of that wheelhouse right there, man. I'm, salute to him right now. Got him up here the first time. You know, I was up there on his show. Was definitely appreciative of that, that opportunity. Got some good reps in because it must have been good luck because after that I started everywhere. So, I'm grateful for that, man. And before I have my guest introduce himself, everybody out there, man, network with one another. Take the time to, promote each other's brands, especially if you see each other headed, even if you're not headed to the same direction, but it's good that what they're trying to do and man. Rock with them, man. There's nothing wrong with that, man. On that note, Alexander the Great. That's what you got up there, good brother. Hey, man, and I like what your sweatshirt say. Remember, man, straight up.
Yes, sir.
Jay Burton, Free Jefferson Ellie, Alexander the Great, man. Go ahead, and introduce yourself to the world, good brother.
Yeah. Thank you so much, man. Like Chris said, it was such an honor and privilege to be able to connect with him and be able to share his story. And honestly, anytime that we can connect through conversation, it's a blessing because we're either telling our story, educating, inspiring, whatever it is through our media. That's the goal. That's the motion that it's been since day one getting out of prison. So to jump right to it for introduction, you guys, my name is Alexander the Great. My real name, Alexander Denning. That's my government name. So if anybody wants to Google search me and look up some of my story after the fact, that's what it is. But I'm an ex-con turned model, actor, musician, motivational speaker, father, husband, mentor, whatever it may be. I literally am taking all the talents, everything I have from like my past life and everything I've been building to reach individuals that are in those same shoes that I once walked in, those sandals in jail, those prison issue shoes, whatever it may be. I try to reach my hand back now. And just like Chris does, I love connecting with like-minded people that can bring that conversation to the table and inspire others to, like, go. It's time. Hit the ground running.
Yeah, for me, when you're in the fight, we're gonna get into it. But when you're in the lane of advocacy, when you're fighting a certain fight, it could get tiring. And when you see other people that are fighting, you look over, they might be tired too, or might, but you get that little extra boost of energy, and you're like, okay, boom, we can go. So man, and it was crazy. When you reached out, when we crossed paths, I remember it wasn't too long after you ended up speaking at a college.
Yep.
What university was it?
Yeah. So I pulled up to Purdue University and it was the first time I ever been to Indiana. So right over the border of Chicago. And it was just, it blew my mind because I connected. Honestly, bro, it's through the podcast. Just like you said, how you're building connections through it. It was through the podcast of a woman named Marsha that I had interviewed, like, right from the jump with After the Gate podcast. And she connected with an individual that was at the college as a professor. And it's just like, dude, it's crazy how, like, the spiraling of people trying to get innocent people out of prison, just like we got down at the bottom of tonight's show. We're trying to get people out of prison. That's literally been the gist of everything, whether we connect, we network with people, and everything that blossoms from it. Keeping it 100 and keeping it real, trying to get these people out has been the goal since the beginning, right?
It's gotta be, man. And salute to you. And I want to talk. A lot of different types of people watched it. Man, we got ex-COs, we got guys I was like, we got whoever. To my guys that came home from prison, man, don't forget your brothers or my ladies that came home. Don't forget your sisters. Don't forget the juveniles, the countless juvenile, because we already know what's going on. Certain things, the criminal justice system's flawed. It needs to be overhauled. That's why they're going to legislation and they're trying to rip it apart and we know what's up. So don't forget where you came from, man. Even if you don't have the time to necessarily fight for someone, pick up the phone, send a letter, encourage, whatever it is, man. I just wanted to say that. And the reason I spoke on that about 2 days ago through the podcast, a young lady from San Diego State reached out to me. And they want me to go ahead and speak then. And I immediately thought about you because I remember when you had spoke there and you had asked for my buddy's info and all that. And I was like, dang, that's great. But yeah, I tell everybody, you want to get in, if you want to meet people in the lane that you want to be in, podcast, Twitter too. I get, Twitter's cool. But podcasts, they're dope. They give you opportunity to have conversations and cross paths.
And be a part of that conversation. And, offer your insight, because it's not just one person behind doing all that work. Bro, with your intro, it literally, like, every time I hear it, it touches something in you, because you think, like, keeping it 100 at all times, keeping it 100 with the conversation, with what you're having. The people that are bringing it to the table are the people that are moving that effort closer to what we're fighting for,
Right. So I want to back it up a little bit, because obviously my viewers, everybody knows, or first time viewers, I did some time. You just touched on the fact you did time when you came home. You were in it. I'm fighting. This is what I'm doing. I'm getting some people home. Let's go all the way back though. Let's go before incarceration, pre-incarceration journey. What was it like growing up? You don't have to, but just give us 2-parent household, 1-parent household, suburb, city. Like, what was it like?
Yeah. To be honest, man, everybody that I tell this to, what life was like, they're like, why'd you jump into this life of crime? Why'd you ever, I was pretty much born. I'm not going to say my parents were rich, but like mom and dad, they were married. We grew up in the suburbs in the valley out in California, right near Fresno, for anybody listening that knows. And it was like, we went to Disneyland, like everything seemed to be cool growing up, but like, I don't know. I think just like the valley, growing up in this setting, nobody gets out of this thinking of like, this small valley minded thinking, and it's like undereducated, and it's like people just don't get out and grow as people. and I don't want to say that about everybody, but most of the people that
Yeah.
leave the Valley are going to LA and they're going to San Francisco and they're going for like bigger jobs and the universities and stuff. But for me, skateboarding was my passion, and it kind of kept me in a good lane that kept me out of trouble. But when my parents would move from California to Minnesota, it was like, okay, now I'm in this rebellion stage where like you just snatched everything I love. And skateboarding,
Shock.
yeah, it was a huge shock, bro. It was, I mean, I don't want to be like that dude, like, oh, I'm crying, life sucks, right? Like, because I had everything that I needed, right? But I chose this path that burned so many bridges and put me in this place that, like, okay, now you're gonna have to figure it out for yourself. You know, you want to learn the hard way, you can be a knucklehead, you're gonna learn the hard way. And I think that's what it was.
Because I mean, I can relate in similar fashion. I didn't really have an excuse. You know,
Yeah.
I honestly, I did, but I didn't. I always had somebody, my mom, there was somebody that was leading me the right way and said, but I became rebellious because some of it was boredom, some of it was anger, you know, those teenage years, you know, you start to feel yourself. So was it just that, because let me say, from Cali to Minnesota, I'm from Chicago. I lived in Port Hueneme in Ventura for like a year. So I already know Cali's lovely. And then I'm younger. Right. And then you take me, I'm skating in the sunshine, and then and then you shoot me over there. So you became rebellious. Was it, now we just gonna fast forward a little bit, the moment that you ended up, you know, incarcerated? Was it something where you kind of just felt like, man, I don't care what happens? Or did you feel it, but you didn't think it was gonna happen when the moment came? Was it spur of the moment? Or because I'll ask the people this, because one thing we can all agree, everybody basically walking the face of planet Earth could have been locked up.
Everybody. Martha Stewart went to prison. I always tell people that, bro.
Yeah.
Martha Stewart went to prison.
Right. Some of us just didn't get caught, right? And then some of the people that get locked up, some of it really is, they're not planning this. They're living their life. They're thinking everything's cool. They're not thinking that, and they run into a situation and maybe they don't make the right decision. What was your background? What was your experience with that?
Yeah. So, like, backtrack just a small bit. Going to that place, right? And even being an advocate for people who are innocent inside prison, it's a totally different like flip from me, because it was a criminal lifestyle. Like when I said being that rebellion, like it was leading up to this. Like my whole thinking is like, I'm always going to be the best at whatever I'm doing. So skateboarding, that was going to be my career. Like there was no plan B. Like this is it, because this is what I love and this is what feels good, all in, right? And then criminal lifestyle came through. It was all in. So it was either like, I'm gonna be a mafia boss or something at the top I'm shooting for, right? But when I come face to face with that inside prison, right? In my story, I meet this mentor who's a mobster. Like he flips my whole thinking on this stuff. And it's like, man, all this shit you were thinking, like you're trying to be this person, it's not the cake you're trying to eat. Taste, you know, it's with salt and it's not sugar, you know, like it's a whole different, it's crazy when you start to open your eyes to things that you thought, you know, you think that the grass is greener on the other side, and when you get there, it's a mirage or something, you know. And it's it like took me to understand that. It took me to kind of figure my way through prison. And I don't know, that just that mentality, right? That hustle mentality of like, I'm gonna get whatever I can and whatever I deserve by whatever means necessary. And it's still that way, but just now with like, you know, with my conscious of mind, with people with in consideration and family, friends, community, you know.
I think, I don't know, you know, I got a buddy of mine and he's the type, he can excel in anything he wants to excel in. And I say, man, you can, but the double-edged sword is he's really good any direction he goes. So if he's doing good, he's good at being great. But man, when he was on the other side, he was great at that too. And so I get the gist. Maybe that's you, because you're multi-talented present day, and you continue to put things on your plate. So you're one that excels. I'm intrigued about the part where you said this mentor, where this guy pulls up. Because I had a similar situation. I went to prison. I was a lunatic. I was angry. I got hit with my time. And the guy's name who's going across the street, Jefferson Ellie, was the guy that pulled up on me.
Free Jefferson Ellie.
Yeah, and been a big brother ever since. And I give him the nod because, man, if he didn't get in my face, and when I say that, I just mean if he just cared enough in the right way to say, hey, man, you don't gotta do this. Yeah. So what was your experience like? Because guys don't hear about that partner. There's some good guys in prison. There's some stand-up guys in prison, man.
A lot of good people. So it kind of played out like this, right? I went to this place called Gladiator School, and up until the point of going to this prison, it was a close custody. And I was like, I'm not going to end up there. That's where like the most violent people go. That's whatever. So I end up there. I'm on the bus thinking, man, anxiety ridden. And in my head, I'm always telling myself, like, I ain't scared of nothing. I don't fear nothing. It is what it is. I'm going to face it like a man. But when you get into a place like that and you're like the lone soldier and you got 10, 15, older dudes, right? I'm 19 years old. I'm still technically a teenager, right? So I'm sitting in this prison and like everything's crazy for me, right? Like I'm living this criminal lifestyle thinking like I went to prison because I stabbed somebody in self-defense, kind of went overboard, and it led me to prison. I'm thinking, I'm this tough gangster. I can handle my own. But getting into a place like prison, you realize, nah, man, there's always somebody tougher. That's what my dad always said. So it was like being in this facility, I would see this old man all the time, and everybody would say that old man's famous. He's an old mobster. And immediately I'm like, oh man, I'm fascinated with mobster mentality and the whole mafia lifestyle. So I don't see him because he's in a different unit, like, a little bit further away from me, and we just cross paths, but I always see him and people say he's famous, blah, blah, blah. So eventually I go to the hole for some bull crap, and from the hole I get brought over to the shoe where I'm in 23 hours a day and I get out an hour, and he's a swamper cleaning up as a janitor in the unit, and he'll come to my door, and eventually I'd come out for these little hour times, and me and him it was like we clicked. He's like, dude, you're the first kid I've ever met in 40 something years, right? He was serving a life sentence, that ever reminded me of myself. And I always like, whatever. But the more he started telling me about himself, I thought, damn,
he had been down for 40 years. He had already been down.
Yeah. So his name's Vincent Tony Crutchiello, and he'd been down since 1960 something, right? He went down when he was like 39 or something for the RICO Act. So then he did Fed time, got out on a life sentence of Fed time after like 25, I think was like he did 25 to life. And then Minnesota scooped him up and brought him to the state for 99-year sentence. So it was like, he thought he was going home. The second he was walking out the gate, the feds cuffed him, and like, it's crazy.
I couldn't imagine. Imagine.
You think you're going home, but really he didn't have, I mean, I just think of it, he didn't have anything at all. They took everything. His wife had passed away. So like he was going home he was going out to freedom to nothing, but I mean, he's still fighting for his freedom. He's still fighting, still in his 83 years of age. He's still fighting for it in, in Philadelphia. So like, I mean, don't stop, I can't, it's not my opinion to say whether he belongs there or not. He was in there for a lot of bodies, 16 bodies they had pinned on him. So it's like only God judges people, and everybody creator judges his own. But it's this man really flipped my thinking, right, and made me read these books and get educated and come back and talk to him. And in prison, you're doing push-ups, you're doing whatever it may be. Sometimes people are working on the mind, but not a lot of the time. A lot of time people were just screwing off. So those 3 months back in the shoe for me was talking to this old man and him like educating me, and soon we're like family.
Yeah, that's like it's like the classic prison scene though. It's like, you know what I'm saying?
Like any prison movie you watch, or yeah.
Right. That might be one of the scenes they got right out of all the prison movies I've seen. There's a lot of stuff they get wrong in Hollywood, but hey.
How many times do you think that happens? Like, I think of that, right? Like he told me like you're the only dude I met in 40 something years. Like, how many dudes have you said that to save their didn't come back to prison or something? I think of it like that, right? There's
how
lifers
many,
in there changing lives.
like literally, they're doing some of the best reentry work and rehabilitation work that known to man right now, not getting paid.
Yeah, not a
Not getting
dime.
paid.
Aside from the correctionals.
Yeah, I know when I got sent to Sussex too, which was a level 4. I'd probably say 70% of the camp was lifers, and they
Jeez.
had some, yeah, they had some men up there that were real teachers and instructors. Man, you had real mentors. They took the GED program up there was man. They was I didn't go to school one day, and I didn't go to school, and the teacher and the CO didn't come get me. The tutor that was locked up in the next pod over came and like you need to come. I was like, okay,
It's
I
time
got
for
it.
school. Yeah, I'm up.
But I appreciate it because when you look at it, man, here we go. We got guys that are, we hope, who knows? I don't know everybody's situation, but some of these guys, maybe they deserve to come home, but they're all doing life and they're still willing to it says something about humanity. Somebody say humanity's dead, but no, you just got to know where to look for it. And sometimes you
Yeah.
find it in the
In
places
the like prison. Yeah. Just like you're saying, man, find it in places with you feel like there's no hope.
Do you think? Let me ask you this, and maybe your experience is different. I'm in Atlanta. I'm in Atlanta. That's how I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Atlanta's crazy.
Yeah.
Um, do you feel like people are angrier out here than they were in prison? Like present day right now. Somebody asked me that question with the violence and everything going on in society.
Yeah.
I was like, that's a good question.
That is a good question. Can I ask you what would you have to say about that before I can answer?
Me, I said yes.
That people are more angry out here, you're saying?
Yeah, I feel like people are more angrier out here.
Yep.
And maybe because I remember in prison, there may be tension, but I can't say that I was on prisons where they was fighting every day. I'm not going to say I was on a camp, but maybe once a month like that. But man, you turn on the news in Atlanta and there's 3 shootings every night. Yeah, a buddy of mine, man, his cousin, she just lost her life a few months back, literally at a Subway down here because she put too much mayonnaise on the guy's sub and they got to argue. He shot her and her girlfriend in front of their 5-year-old. Her girlfriend survived. But I think society is angrier. I think, I don't know, in some weird way, man, like things are just more tense out here.
Yeah, you know why I think too. You're right. That's my opinion too. That I think people are more angry out here on the streets, but because I think inside prison we're not affected by what's going on in society as much, right? Like when we were out in prison, we didn't hear about the celebrities we did, but it didn't affect us. The celebrities who died out on the street, it affected people because you're seeing it on social media, you're seeing it like all day on your phone. You're seeing like, okay, this person passed away. In prison, I think, I don't know, I think it's like that desensitization. Maybe I don't know, maybe we're worrying about other things too in prison, more about, I don't know, just so disconnected from the world. But I agree. I think people are so angry out here, and that's why people are shooting people over mayonnaise. People are doing things like that, or more drastic, more tragic things,
It's crazy. I know that this is when I felt like things were off out here. And again, maybe because it's where I'm at and what's going on in the city and all that. It's not, I don't live in a bad part, but when you live in the city, you drive 5 minutes over there, you're going to, or whatever. But I wake up mornings now, and I told a friend of mine, it almost feels like I'm waking up, not in prison, like I'm locked up, but like the tension, like, oh man, I got to go out in this world. Here we go. I got to go drive through Atlanta it's kind of like that, if that makes sense.
Yeah. In the sense that of like when you're in prison too, how you have to go about yourself, like looking behind your back or I feel you, bro. That tense is there. Like you have to worry about things that you didn't think you had to worry about before.
Yeah, it's different, man. It's different. I thought for me, I came home in 2020, and I remember I told my wife, I said, I came home January 13th, not too long, Kobe, his daughter, the passengers passed. I remember that, and then everybody had masks. And I remember telling my wife, I said, "Man, I did 17 years. I'm grateful to be home, but you know what I'm saying?" And then the mass shootings. When you're in prison, I think you hit it on the head. When I was in prison, I was always in touch with, get on the phone, visits, but there's no amount of explaining your people can do, or no amount of TV watching your people can do, that can make you feel what's actually going on in society right now. And that's what I'm telling people. It's different out here. So, to anybody that's got a loved one coming home from prison, incarceration, prepare them to the best of your ability. Because
you don't know what they're coming out to.
Yeah, I'm optimistic for 2023, man. Just hopefully, man, we'll see what's going on. 2022 wasn't that bad, but 2023, let's do better.
I think that the tenseness needs to come up off everybody's shoulders.
It's a little too tense, man. It feels like I just want everybody to be like, "Yo, we're free."
We feel good now.
Like, it's okay. You guys don't want to go where I just came from a few years back. Like, that's where you might feel like this. But I want to get back into the prison bid. You spoke about running into a mentor. I can definitely relate to that. You did Fed time or state time?
It was state time.
It was state time. I gotta ask you, because somebody DM'd me about the flyer when they seen the picture of you taking a selfie in the mirror with the phone. They're like, "Yo, where was bro locked up?" I don't know. You don't have to say that, but like, was it? How was your bid? Was you wilding? Was that? I mean.
Yep. So that photo that you saw, that wasn't that wasn't an incarceration. So that was actually backstage on a very first film that I was in. The one that you saw, that you guys seen with me on the phone, that was me in county jail. So that one was a real county jail. But the one of me with the cell phone, that was me on set. It
was like, okay.
Where's this Fed time? Why was he in the orange jumpsuit?
Right. So state time, you was in Minnesota?
I was in Minnesota, state time was cool in the sense of like, I'm thankful that I didn't get locked up out in my home state of California.
That's what I was gonna ask. What was the culture like?
The culture, let's say this. If I was in California prison, I feel like I would have 100% been forced into some type of like joining, clicking up, just otherwise I'd have just been stabbed my whole 8 years or something, right? Running into problems, just that I feel like it's too political out there, right?
Ridiculous. The further west you go, it gets ridiculous.
I don't. And I mean, if you think about that, I'm 19 years old. I made a mistake. I wasn't looking to pursue a life of crime. I was looking to turn away from it. And I had 8-year sentence to look at ahead of myself. So I'll have to say this, with people that are going to certain prisons in different states, they're all different, right? Like you said, the West gets different. With Minnesota, it was the closed custodies. You could feel that tenseness and that pressure, and that, like, they didn't call it gladiator school for no reason. Like it held every single day. It was like over my shoulder. But when I went to a medium after 2.5, 3 years, it was cool. But when you're in close custody, and I'm sure you experience the same stuff, like 70% of those people being lifers, some of them are humble and some of them are still dealing with that like hatred for being incarcerated, or pissed off, or fighting the system, or whatever it may be, you know, and you clash heads with someone like that. It could be terrible for someone, like doing a smaller sentence, or just in and out. And I think I'm thankful for that too, because being in Minnesota, I don't think I'd have had a life had I gone to some harder prison system that was based off politics. I truly, like, I ran into problems with gangs and stuff like that, not running with someone when I first got to prison. And it just pretty much met me with like, okay, I'm gonna have to prove myself. You know, I stabbed somebody, so I'm gonna have to fight every day if I have to, whatever it is. I just don't want someone telling me to go fight somebody and getting more time added on. Like, I'm not that dude, you know?
I wasn't, man, it wasn't. I'm from Chicago, so I know about that lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
And I tell God, you the goal is to be free.
Yep.
And one of the worst things you can do is put yourself in a situation where another person outside of the guards and whoever else can make a decision when it comes to your life.
To
It
your
is what
life.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not here to knock anybody, to each his own, but I will continue to tell my man, the goal is to be able to do what you want to do when you want to do it. And that doesn't involve somebody else having a say over it. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So I get it.
Yeah. I think it was like the pressure too. You think of it like it's just like high school or something, but for
a lot, man. It's tension.
yeah. It's that pressure you get in and you're like, damn, when I first walked into prison, there was these 8 phones and every single phone was for a gang. And I was like, fuck, I can't call my family unless I'm in a gang. Yeah. How do I call my family to get, even, and I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna have to just sit back and wait or something. And yeah, prison ain't, for everyone listening, kids and everybody, prison ain't, I used to think of it too, like Tupac said this shit, right? He was saying like, I was meant to go up to prison. That was just me becoming a man, that next step. But like, sure, I matured, but I think it was like just much quicker than life should have been and much more stressful than life should have been,
Yeah. I had a full head of hair, man, and no grays in my beard. I was 19 too, and here's the thing, and this is why the system needs to be. Look, when you're 19, you don't even know who you are, man. You don't even know. There's scientific medical fact when it comes to your brain. It was the frontal cortex. I don't even Google it. Somebody back me up. It doesn't even get fully formed or processed till you're 25. There's this whole study out there right now. And there's this from like 17 to 21, the numbers of young men in America that are getting locked up are ridiculous. That's all. And I think on that note, that's why some of us are saying we got to become more proactive. There's got to be more attention before it even gets there, because there's a bunch of teenagers, there's a bunch of depressed a lot of it's mental health related. There's so many things that can be addressed instead of trying to address it after the fact.
That's something we put the oil in our car and we do all these other things, right, to prevent it from breaking down, but we're not doing anything for our communities, our own self, our bodies, our families. Most of the time.
No, it's crazy. Before I go off on a 2-hour tangent, but because we got to do more. We got to do more in 2023.
It's coming.
It's coming. It's definitely coming. A few more months away. Turkey on the way, and then then Merry Christmas and all that other stuff, and then we there. But so I want to get back into you were sentenced to 8 years. You spoke on one of the things people don't even think about, the phone situation. That's something a lot of people that's what goes on. Like, and even where I was at, each phone was controlled by a different city, gang, somebody. I was just lucky enough. Every pod I was in, they were like, okay, bro, gonna make sure don't no kites get dropped. And because I would make sure they got, like, we call them civilians, the guys that didn't, whatever, get on the phone. I let everybody on the phone. You know what I'm saying? So, but the tension, even with that, having to maintain or help maintain order on phone, just so ultimately I could get on the phone. Like, it was a lot, man. I tell the kid, like you said to the kids, I tell the kid, having to wait in line for the shower or having to coordinate times when you go to take a shower, like all of that, man. It's just
they tell you everything you're gonna be doing.
What was your biggest takeaway in your 8 years? Because you kind of hit on the head. You already knew it. You was like, I'm headed home. This is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You had a mentor stepped in, but
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Chris. I'd say that like my first 2-3 years in that close custody, until that pressure was relieved and I got to medium, that's when I was telling myself, like, okay, like now I'm on my way out the door, and that date that says on release date, I'm gonna make that date. There ain't gonna be any extra trouble. When I was in close custody, it just never felt like that. But I think that it was just like changing from the medium, and then there's this community that I got involved in. It was called IFI, right? And it's the prison fellowship is organized by by the guy who was involved in the Watergate scandal with the president, and he created this program, and now it's like advocacy and all this stuff for helping people stay out. Super intense Christian program, but I think getting into that, even if I didn't agree with everything, right, it made that level of accountability inside prison that I'd have never had anywhere else, right? Nobody gave a shit about if I'd have shown up and did stuff. Like you said, those teachers came and got you. In close custody, I mean, if they're coming to get you to go to the hole and nothing else, they ain't letting you know for visits. They ain't letting you know for nothing.
Yeah.
But when you have that community, it was like forced. The inmates were forced to conform or bounce. Like it was that. So it was only people that wanted to do good. And so when I got transferred down there, that mentality was already kicked into gear. So it was easy for me to just go through the program, and I did really, really well. And it was, I don't know, it was just like leading up to all this stuff. The moment I went into prison, I knew like I need to go to this program because it's the only option. I have no early release programs, nothing, because it was a violent crime. So that was really like my only option, I feel like.
Do you feel in your time behind bars, your 8 years, do you feel like anything impacted you, or you took anything with you, whether good or bad? Because I tell people, I think one of the this is something really weird, but one of the things that I took with me that I noticed that I didn't do prior to incarceration, if I'm not in a room in my house, I like to close the door.
Okay.
I don't know
maybe
why
maybe it's like a protective thing, bro. Like, you know what I mean? You're just protecting, like,
I don't know if it's because I don't know if it's because I'm used to only seeing a certain amount of space. I told my therapist, I said, yo, I close doors. She says, what do you mean? I said, if I'm not, she's like, that is kind of, I said, well, thanks for being honest.
At least you're being honest with me.
Let's figure it out though. But, I mean, that's not nothing too crazy. I'm not the guy that can't sit I got to sit with my back against the wall and under the back. I think I might have slipped up at the school and said chow hall one time instead of student lounge, and the students laughed because they, like, Mr. Chris, he did, you know what I'm saying? Like, but nothing major. But sometimes guys do come home, you know, with certain things. Maybe it's anxiety, maybe it's whatever it is. But then again, sometimes guys only come home with strength and resilience, and you know that too. But what is one of those, like, your biggest takeaway? Was it, you think prison helped mold you? You think it kind of hindered you, or what do you think?
Yeah. I would say, to the yin and the yang, it's pros and cons, because a lot of good has come from my prison experience, right? Like shaping me into just I guess even my brand of like Alexander the Great and everything I represent with my advocacy and doing podcasting. But, you know, that's on the pro side, but on the con side, it's brought, and I'd say I haven't experienced this until, and it's weird to think of this, but it would be like 2.5 years after getting out of prison when things start to hit me with like anxiety, you know, just being like, I don't know, just be like going and meet new people, right? Like just that type of like that interaction where I don't even want to have to meet somebody new and go through that stressors of it. Like, I'm just trying to maintain comfort, but I know you got to be outside that comfort zone to grow it all, right? And I hate saying this a lot of the time, but I say, okay, I was so uncomfortable in prison. I'm trying to just maintain my comfort, but I can't if I'm trying to, you know what I mean, bro? If I'm trying to grow and
you gotta get outside your comfort zone.
Gotta get outside.
I'm an introverted extrovert.
Yeah. Yep.
I can. It's not, when I say I can turn it on and off, it's not that when I turn it on or off that I'm being fake. No, my heart is genuine. It's just sometimes it takes a lot out of me to just, hey man, talk to people today. It just is, you know. It just is what it is. And then, you know, we're in different lanes, but some of the similar lanes, a lot of days you don't have a choice. And I think that's where the anxiety comes up, because, you know, it's like, oh, you can't get out this one. You know, so I can definitely relate to that. You spoke on advocacy. You spoke we spoke on the top of the hour, how you were able to, you know, to go speak at Purdue. I want to get into that. Again, free Jay Burton, free my brother as well, free Jefferson Ellie. Why did you decide to do what not everyone does? A lot of people, I'm just gonna say, a lot of people come home. I'm not saying for the wrong reasons, man. Some people are tired from their own journey and they just want to go right off in the sunset, and I'm not mad at that. But every once in a while, we got guys that they don't let go of the prison system, but in the right way. You're still talking, you're still fighting. What was your decision making process? Was there a moment where you said, "Oh, I can't forget this person or these guys," or what happened? What led you?
Yeah, I like that you say that. With the concept of like forgetting prison, I literally tried, and I still do, right? Like, there's a lot of people that I probably should still talk to in prison, right? It just somewhat because I feel like, they were a friend to me at some point. I feel like I owe that to them, but still, I'm like, this is my life, and I need to just cut off all prison, right? But in that other retrospect, I'm going back into prisons, federal prisons, and speaking to people and telling them like, this is what you can expect when you get out, and going to universities and working towards advocacy. I think really in the back of my head, the first thing that kind of blew up for me when I got out of prison was in the fashion industry, and it was with modeling. And I didn't even have social media. I didn't have Facebook, Instagram. Like, modeling made me do that so that I could have this portfolio to show. Like, I never expected to get on the internet. I was just like, all right, I'm doing modeling runway. Like, they take the pictures. I don't need to take nothing, So I was making money doing that. But in the back of my head, I'm always thinking, how can I help somebody with this talent that I've acquired through, whatever it may be? So with modeling, it was doing fashion shows for children's hospitals, and then with the prison stuff, it's just the education, the media. It's all blossomed into like, okay, how do I give back? How do I create this like resource for people when they're getting out of prison? They're like, okay, go to Alexander the Great TV, go to the 100 TV, go to this network of people that, like, you need a job, they know where to go for felons. You need this, they know where for that. Like, and create these resources so that they don't fail and get out and continue to commit crimes in the community that you live in, that you want to be safe, that you either a pro them not going back or you want them to go back. I think a lot of the people too that are on the fence with, like, nobody in their right rabbit ass mind believes that we want people to commit crimes and go back to prison. I mean, I don't think anybody thinks that. Like, everybody wants people to stop committing crime. So if you're not being some part of that, and like you say, love up on your people, they might have done bad, but without that support, they're gonna go right back to that same stuff. And I don't know, like, what was it for you, Chris? Like, when you got out, that was a long time for you to get sentenced. Was it easy for you reentry? With me, I had my family, and it was easy for me. I feel like,
man, I came home. I mean, my story is crazy, right? But I came home to a wife that I just celebrated 3 years with. We've been together 5. I came home to, we had car. My journey wasn't as hard as the next man, but my journey was hard because, I want to say I hit a couple walls mentally, right? I came home after 17 years, and here comes a pandemic. And I'm in a warehouse working 16-hour days and trying to figure it out. I spoke about it in Pat. Me and my wife, we went through 3 miscarriages. And these are the things that made it hard for me. It was in prison, everything is controlled, right? Mm-hmm. You're not really prepared. And because I do a lot of mentoring as well, and I talk to guys, and I'm trying to just get them in the mode of, you can't really prepare for this part of life. And they're like, what's this? And it's the part of life that you can't be prepared for. Mm-hmm. Every day there's always, not necessarily, but there seems every week there's going to be something unpredictable, negative, something that's going to, and in prison there's not too much of that. When I came home, we didn't know. I'm watching numbers go up on the news of casualties. I don't know if we can get jobs. So I think that is what made it hard for me. But my support, ultimately, I have a dope circle around me, man, of people that are patient, understanding. They're go-getters. They know how to support me, when to support me. They let me bump my head a couple times, but yeah, that was my experience. And I talk, you know, for the guys that don't have resources, the ladies that don't have resources, I tell everybody there are resources out there. This is, we got to start. One of the easiest, Google. Start getting on Google. Start getting on Twitter is crazy. I learned about Twitter. You can put in resources for incarcerated people in whatever state, and advocates and help organizations and all types of people pop up. You can start messaging. There's people out there and there's access to them. It's not like it was 20 years ago. But I want to keep going, but you gave me a lot of thoughts. That was my journey.
Yeah. I always like asking people, Chris, because I mean, like my whole time in prison, I just met people that were like, I'm coming home to literally nothing. Like I've burned every bridge. And I just thought like, damn, like how bad has it been to get to that point where like these people, your family don't want to talk to you. And it's hard. I know, I understand. It's to each his own and each story is different, but like it's rough when you're hearing somebody that is going home to nothing. $500 check is what starts life.
And a halfway house.
And a halfway house where half the people are dealing drugs and still doing crime or whatever, or it's bad circumstances most of the time. At least in my case, mine was horrible.
Man, I've seen guys go home to nothing and come back the next week.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the guy, I was down so long that I seen guys come back 2-3 times, and it was all financially related. It was they didn't have money, they didn't have resources, they didn't have support, they didn't, you know. But yeah, I mean, I just think more can be done. Obviously, we invest a lot of money, our taxpaying dollars into a lot of things, but I think more can be invested, especially when you're talking about you want crime to go down, right? Like it shouldn't be hard. Yeah, it shouldn't be hard to invest there. You know.
Yeah, a lot of injustice
for profit, but you know.
yeah, I agree.
But the advocacy, back on the advocacy, you speak, you mentor. I think one of the dope things that you just mentioned is the fact that you kind of you use one moment to serve two purposes. You know, the model thing, a lot of people from the outside, they might be like, oh, Roger, you're modeling to bring where's awareness or whatever it is, raise resources, which is dope. You're in advocacy. I want to take the time to really just take a few minutes to talk right now specifically about Jay Burton in his case.
Absolutely.
I know he's got a petition out there and all that. What's going on with his case? I always want to get into. I know that's a part of your motivation, a part of your fight. We've talked about him briefly. Let everybody know what's going on.
Yep. So I'm glad you mentioned Jay. I just got letters. So it's sad to hear this with everybody that's listening. And once you follow Jay's story, he's currently in the hole, and he'll be in the hole in Corcoran State Prison until January 12th. And he went into the hole 2 days before his 50th birthday, which was in October. And he went to the hole for a cell phone. So typically, Jay's been in prison for 34 years, and he said he's never been to the hole for a cell phone. This one time seemed like it was specific and targeted or something, but he's breaking the rules. It makes sense. It is what it is. But Jay Burton is in the hole currently. And you guys can check it out. If you guys click any of the links that is my Beacons link, you'll be able to see Jay's petition and read a lot more of his story and just a little bit further than what I'm telling. But with Jay, he's been in prison since he was 16. They have a print on a gun that they said shot at somebody, and they're saying it's his print. He's saying it's so odd with his case. He's never been charged. He was brought from juvenile court into adult court and shuffled into a prison with a murder charge. And like, I know it sounds like it doesn't happen, but once you read up on it and you realize it was during a time of just really crazy injustice and racial motivation, and like once you hear a story, it touches you so much. And that's why I've probably been the biggest advocate, other than his family, pushing this, like, listen to this, listen to what he has to say, listen, because if you have 1 ounce of moral dignity and you hear this guy's story, just like Jefferson Ellie, like you've heard his story, you understand, like I can't go the rest of my life with this fool sitting inside prison and being innocent because of some stupid legal judicial F up, right? And so with Jay, he's in the hole currently, and I'm working, tooth and nail with individuals that are with Innocence Project, with producers that are working with it. Hopefully, a podcast, television series can get picked up and projected. All it really takes is like an individual. I say this with everything. It takes one individual to either like stop an evil and just cut it off and not allow it to continue. It takes one person to alleviate the pressure and take that burden to like help somebody. And that's what Jay needs, is the right person to look at the information presented and say, just as I've listened to this man speak on a cell phone that he's paid $8,000 for to convince me over a 4-hour conversation while he's in his cell hiding, to tell me a story, to convince me so that I can spread the word, right? And that speaks volumes to me that he would have gave up. It's been 34 years. He would have gave up a long time ago. And I bet my life on this man's freedom.
That's a different type of fight, man. I don't know if anybody that's watching this can you imagine being innocent or being like,
yeah, you didn't do it.
Years. You did not. It was not you. And this happened. Yeah, and the thing that makes Jay Burton's case important, and hopefully people, you look into Jay Burton, click the Beacons link. I'm definitely going to put it back up here in the chats. But man, Jay Burton's case represents cases all across the country. There's people that have died in prisons that never committed the crime. There's people that will die in prison and never committed the crime. It's unfortunate, but again, even if the jury and the judge had 100% good intent in the moment, they're still human. They can still look at a situation wrong, and that's one of the part of the discussion I try to explain to people. We're not always necessarily saying, yes, we know certain things have to be in place, but humans are flawed, man. It's okay to look back at certain information.
Yeah.
What else? I mean, advocacy. I definitely want you to touch a little bit more after the gate, Beacon, all that stuff. But what are all the things you got going? I know you got a million things going.
Yeah. So a lot of the time when people ask me, like, okay, that's why I tell them, like, I'm that ex-con, model, actor, musician, motivational speaker. There's like, I almost just want to say, look, I'm Alexander the Great. Check me out. Do you know what I mean? I do what I do. Right. But honestly, bro, it's so many ventures, from like travel channel type stuff that I do travel media with my family, which is the Great Family Times. I do stuff from clothing design with my Headshot, which is my Headshot brand. I do just tons of different media, from different like prison stuff to, like I said, traveling or vlogging, or I want to touch a lot more on educational stuff, because I feel like that's what reaches individuals, and people connect a lot more with, hey, I did this, don't do it. You could have a life like this, or you could be happy. You don't have to choose drugs, alcohol. You don't have to be depressed or choose to be influenced by, I feel like a lot of the music and the media stuff too, man, like it influences people, whether they believe it or not. Like, it's cool at the time, but I mean, when you're listening to, say, like Juice WRLD all the time, and he's talking about popping pills and dying all the time, I mean, it's in your head all the time. You're brainwashing yourself, or you're thinking, and that could be with anything.
Conditioning yourself.
Yeah, you condition yourself. What comes in, just as much as you eat, and everything that comes in through your ears and your eyes, it's like you're digesting it. Your precious brain soaking it all in.
Yeah. So you got all these different ventures. I know the underlying message or overlying message at the end of the day, because you, from the start, from when you hit the ground, it's always to bring awareness for the different things you're in. Where do you see yourself 10 years from now, or 5 years from now? Where are we going to see you?
Yeah. So we're 2022. We'll be like 2027. So I wrote on this piece of paper, and I used to read it all the time, Chris. I put it up in prison. I still got it here on my desk, and I'll read it. I'll say, my name is Alexander Denning, and I am financially secure. I have a house. I have a wife. Yeah. And just that list, man, I put at the bottom, I crossed it out because I said it was in prison. I'm gonna be famous in 2025, and I crossed it out. Like I ain't looking for this anymore. Like underneath it is the careers, and I scribble, these are the careers I'm looking for. Media production and these things that I want. And to give back through. I always looking to give back through all the
Yeah.
ventures that I do, and everybody watching. Anybody who has a question on whatever it may be, social media, pushing, like, I'm here. I usually respond to anybody and everybody, and if I don't, just keep commenting. I will respond, type stuff.
Right. And man, and I can't say he's one of the guys that definitely he's sincere, man. He does reach back, reach out, all that good stuff. Man, I like to offer towards the end my guests an opportunity to give the world a message. It could be a lesson you've learned in life. It could be whatever. I mean, really, there's no limitation. Just something you want the world to know. The floor is yours.
Yeah. Thank you. For everybody listening, everybody watching, I would say that the biggest takeaway that I've taken from my 31 years of life and just chasing, like, chasing this, let's say, the literal meaning to life, chasing this, like, this meaning in my life. I don't think I truly became happy until I was being myself. And I'm talking about wearing the shoes I want to wear and looking the way I want to do and speaking the way I want to speak, and being around people that I don't have to worry about being that goofy ass kid or like, always trying to be that person that, like, I don't need the new shoes, maybe for somebody else or whatever makes you happy, be that person. But I think most of my life, I wasted a lot of my life chasing this image of a person that I thought will bring me happiness. And you start chasing the person inward, you'll find happiness a lot quicker than chasing all these other things. And whether it's money, drugs, alcohol, friends, people, resources, just be you and you'll find that tribe that you vibe with,
I just said something like that. I told a young lady, I said, man, go where you want to go in life, and you're gonna find people that are just like you. Like, they're gonna be driven and motivated. They're gonna be creative. They're gonna be everything that you need them to be, man. Salute to you and everybody else that understands the value of being yourself. It took me, I'm 39. It took me, I might well say 39 years to figure that out. I was for years aggravated and aggy and then one day I was like, why? And I said, man, I'm not chasing my peace. I'm trying to fulfill everybody else's peace. So yeah, I get that, man. Hearing you say this, that's confident. That's the third time's a charm today. So that's confirmation,
time, bro.
man. Yeah, that's a good word right there, man. Be yourself, y'all. You are unique. You are priceless. You're not greater or lesser than anybody. Don't let anybody else fool you with that nonsense. You're made the way that you are with good cause and reason. And whatever you feel on the inside of you that you want to be out, don't be in bed. Don't just let that out. Just
let it out.
I'm going to get my gauges out probably maybe this weekend. I'm turning up for 2020.
Attaboy. 2023
man.
is gonna be the year, bro.
Yeah. I'm really I'm glad, I'm ready to live my life, man. Hopefully everyone is, man, else out there. As always, man, salute to you, man. Alex is great. Always crossing paths.
Always,
round 3, who knows? You know what I'm saying? But definitely will be in touch. I know that. I'm looking forward to seeing all the things you're getting ready to accomplish. I definitely, certain people I check out on social media, man. So I want to encourage everybody out there, check him out. You've seen his social media scrolling across the live. Let me go ahead and put his IG up there again one more time too.
I appreciate you always, Chris.
Yeah, you got a lot of dope content, man. That's one of the, I haven't said no to anybody that reached out, but when people reach out, I'm like, okay, what are they into? Like, what's the type of content? And one of the things I respected you down to earth, and at the same time, I seen you on TikTok. You like me making people think. That's how I see it.
That's I think with all media, man, what's the message? What's the message these people are gonna be thinking about after? Because they're watching it. What are they thinking about all day when they is it impactful? Is it preaching hate or love? What are you trying to teach?
That's it. And on that note, y'all, final message of the day. It's the holiday season. Asking, encouraging everybody, challenging everybody out there, man. Show a little bit more love than usual. Show a little bit more grace than usual. Show a little bit more patience. You don't know what people are going through, especially during the holiday season. Check on your people. Say hi to people. Just spread love. The world needs a little bit more cheer. That's all I got for my final message of the day. That's it, man. Another one, man. Yeah, definitely, most definitely been a pleasure, man. Salute to you, everybody. Please make sure you're checking them out, especially on After the Gate, all his content. But After the Gate, go over there, subscribe, lock into the content. He's having conversations that definitely need to be heard. And you can check out me over there as well on one of those interviews.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate you, man.
That's what it is, man. Till next time, man. Peace, love, and blessings to y'all, to the world, to each one of you, man. Keep going, keep grinding, man. Alex, salute to you, soldier. Till next time.
Until next time, brother. Peace out, man.
Peace. Yes, sir.